Welcome back, everybody. This is the Benchinator, and you're watching Let's Play Xenogears, the greatest JRPG on Earth. So last time we had fun trekking around the Duneman Isle, but now we're going to be going to a much more important side quest. There is a lighthouse on the map that's not marked, that actually I believe was available in the first half of the game. I'm not exactly sure about that. It was there, I just don't know if you could go in it, but in any case, in the second disc, you can go in it now, and there rests there some very, very important stuff. So we're going to be heading there in this video right now. There we go. Video begins, and we're actually going to be fighting the gigantic Sufal masses. So we saw the ones on the ground that we fought in a previous video, but now what I just wanted to show you guys that these are gear enemies, the Sufal gears. Kind of funny that they got them. They do some very light damage, nothing too devastating. At this point, there's not really any enemies outside of Merkava that are gonna be giving you a hard time for the most part. You'll see that if you wander around the map, you'll fight enemies like this. You actually also will fight some enemies that you fought at the very beginning of the game. I think that, like, I remember going to Masan and just kind of fighting some of the battles around there, and what I actually found is that there were some hobgobs, like, enemies that you fought in the Black Moon Forest at the very beginning of the game. So you can fight those. But ultimately, when it comes to enemies on the map or in dungeons in the second disc, you just really have to worry about the ones in the Anima Relic dungeons. As far as places to get items and places to practice death blows. Now, where we're going, there's actually going to be some slightly more powerful enemies, some pretty interesting ones. And I don't recommend fighting those guys as a way to power yourself up. These are just kind of enemies that will give you a little bit more of a headache once you go into this very critical side quest. So, as you can see, we're heading down to that continent right there, the unnamed one, and there's the lighthouse. There it is. So just lay next to it and head on in. As you can see, it's not right now marked on the minimap, but after you go through it, it will be, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, Alright, so apparently, according to Bart, the captain did talk about this place. I don't remember that conversation, but I'll take his word for it. As we know that back in the day, Bart did spend many evenings with the captain having drunken revelry. When I put it like that, it sounds it sounds dirty. They were just talking. So anyway, looks like now we're descending into a city, which is pretty cool. So yeah, this place is actually, yeah, Emerald's ruins. So yeah, this might be part of the Zeboim civilization, because we know that Emeralda was kind of from that era, and it seems to be that she was constructed by one of Faye's predecessors, Kim. Alright, so now we got the Shell Bell F1s, and the Shell Bells really aren't that hard. If you do fight them on the ground, they are really, really difficult, because they have a ton of HP. I mean, right now it's pretty easy, but one of the attacks the Shell Bells actually can do is, and you'll see in this battle, is they can half your HP, which really sucks in Gears, because, as we know, healing in Gears is expensive. It takes up fuel. But thankfully, there is going to be a place to recover your health and your fuel fairly soon. So yeah, Shell Bell F1s, reminiscent of when we went into that excavation site in the first disc, for sure. Yes. Yeah, so this is kind of a hint that you can actually get out of your gears and go to those buildings, and you'll see quite a few of those. They're kind of lit up, so it's easy to get an idea of where they are. But Faye is thankfully nice enough to let you know that you can actually get out and explore some of these places. So I believe in this building there actually isn't anything here. I didn't find anything, except for that treasure chest right there. So there is that. There's the Death Blower one. So these Death Blowers, you don't really need them at all if you've been working on your death blows. The whole idea is that these are these are relics that you can equip, I believe, on your gears that allow you to use death blows of a certain level. So there's death blowers 1, 2, and 3, which allow you to use death blows at certain levels. But if you've been powering up your death blows, they're completely not necessary, especially when the 3 slots for gear equipment are so incredibly valuable and limited. You don't really want to bother with them. Just make sure you work on your death blows, and you'll be fine. So these are the Griffins, and the Griffins are actually a little bit tough. They do like a little scratch attack that does some pretty serious damage right there. So Bart's getting beaten up pretty badly. But just like everything else in this particular at this point in the game, most of the enemies are actually pretty easy for the most part. The Griffins take a little bit more than usual. Oh yeah, the Yggdrasil charge. We haven't seen that in a long time. Feels like ancient history when we used that one time in that one battle, and then we never used it again. I mean, a lot of these ether attacks just really don't seem that useful, especially when you have just regular attacks that do so much more, and you have the death blows and the attack levels and so forth. We get to use Repu, which is going to do a ton of damage, of course, almost 5,000. Yeah. This part, I mean, Faye in Xenogears is just so OP. So ridiculous. I just feel like the only thing that's kind of frustrating though is like I feel like this game also has enemies that have a very like high evasion rate. And it can be kind of problematic just because of all these times that you can miss. I mean, maybe it's just to compensate for the fact that a lot of these like special attacks are just so much more powerful, that the designers didn't want you to hit so often that you would just plow through every single enemy. But I don't know, seems a little silly. So I actually have a little trouble getting around this sign right here. It's kind of funny. But now we get to see the battle against the dragon, so this is going to be all kinds of fun. Just going to be fixing up Mr. Yuzuki right there. But now we're going to be hitting him in the face. We're trying to, at least. And spinny. Oh, yeah, and that did a great 0 damage. So, yeah, these guys were problematic when you were fighting outside of your gears, but inside of your gears, these dragons are absolutely no problem whatsoever. So, yeah, also did absolutely no damage. Meanwhile, these attacks would be totally devastating otherwise. Oh, Beat Serpent, we haven't seen you in a while. So yeah, it's at this point in the game, if you can get up to higher than, you know, level 1 attacks, I would, just because it's totally worth it. I'm trying to remember if I actually get Faye up to his hyper mode in this battle. I think I actually might, because I think I figured at this point I might as well just go for broke and you know, go for the. Oh, here we go, Ryame, I believe, or maybe not. Okay, so now he's in hyper mode. Isn't that awesome? So yeah, that 99% with Faye is just great. I love it. But it looks like we're just going to finish him off. Okay, so we're going to go on charge. And so I'm just waiting to use, yeah, Goat next. There we are. Just like with Graph. Finish that dragon off in style. Boom. There's a little backflip. Like I said, there is one more 30 fuel hyper attack that can be used later. I'm not exactly sure how you get it either. I think it's... I've only really seen it available when you're fighting the final battle, or at least in the final dungeon. So, but you will be seeing that in the finale. So here's another place where we can go out and get on foot, and this place is hugely important. If this is the place I'm thinking about. So, oh yes, it is. So there's Big Joe again, who sucks, but this time he's actually going to help you out. So these treasure chests have these random items in there that are not really that useful. Like, you know, there's Hob Jerky, there's Alfano, which restores a little bit of HP. Like, none of this stuff is particularly useful. But this is really the key, and this is really coming here makes this whole side quest worth it. So with the items, you can get all these items that boost your stats, which again at this point in the game are not really that useful. So you can buff out your human stats if you want, but I'm not exactly sure why you'd want to do that this late in the game. But really what it's all about is, if you talk to him again, is going to be the gear upgrades. So this is going to be really interesting. And a lot of this stuff is really expensive. So in the tune-up, yeah, we're just restoring, but the thing that you really want to... Okay, well, the thing you really want to aim for is that GNR 50. You want to try to get 6 of those and equip 2 of them on each of your active party members. So I got 3 at this point, and then I'm going to be getting more later. As you can see, it's enormously expensive, so you are going to have to charge up. And then there's the Z Charger down there, which is also really important. If you equip those and you hit the charge function in battle, you'll restore 500 fuel, so you basically can't run out of fuel. And then the aim are these Omega... we skipped a little bit by it, and I'm going to be getting it later. You want to be getting the Omega, like, 100... Omega 100. 100 output, 1,000 fuel, so that's very little fuel, but it will make you super-duper powerful. And so this is just a little bit later. I got the GNR 50 on Faye, and I got the Omega Drive on him. And so this is not totally complete. You want, ideally, Omega engines on all 3 of your party members, 2 GNR 50s, and Z chargers equipped on all of them. So you basically ostensibly have unlimited fuel, and you just have so much attack power that you'll be able to plow through everything. So that's going to be the ultimate goal. And later on, I will make sure to get those for at least these 3 party members. Ultimately, you do want to, if you really want to play it safe, you want to get those on other party members as well. Because the final battle is going to, if you decide to, require using multiple party members and switching them out. So it's actually kind of interesting how it's done. I'm not going to spoil it right now, but getting those Omega Drives and getting those GNRs and those Z Chargers, I think, in my view, is really, really critical. And now you might be thinking to yourself, well, if you equip the Z Chargers and the 2 GNRs, and you only have 1,000 fuel, how do you heal yourself? You have to remove the frame restore. Well, my answer to that is that you'll be able to plow through everything so quickly that you're not really gonna lose a lot of HP. And even if you do, it's not that huge of a deal. Because with that much attack power, what you're gonna be able to see very quickly is that and you can kind of already see that Faye, when he's been attacking in this battle against these hammerheads, it was incredibly strong. Incredibly strong. And he only has 1 GNR 50 right now. So that's the way that I suggest you try to utilize this game and get through it. Okay, so that door does not work, unfortunately. And I mean, I believe I even tried to access it with on foot and go through one of those little doors, but really nothing there. So yeah, this just kind of shows the power of shows how powerful this guy's phase drive is right now. Over 99,099, so that's some good stuff. But yeah, so that is kind of my ideal in this game, is getting at least 3 of your party members, Omega engines, GNR 50s, 2 of them each, and a Z Charger. And you'll just be unstoppable. Like, you're not going to nobody's going to mess with you. And even in the last dungeon, you'll be able to plow through just everything, as you'll see. Now we're just exploring a little more of this place. And the one thing that I'm thinking back that I missed is that there is a place that you can go into that has newspapers, and it actually discusses Joe, and gives hints about him. So one can surmise that Big Joe, even though he's just this kind of mysterious character, is thousands of years old. So that is one thing I definitely did miss. As I've said before, viewers, I don't get everything in this playthrough. Even though I've played this game several times before, there are definitely things that I did miss, and I apologize for that. But I'm trying to get the essentials, trying to get all the stuff that is really important, trying to talk to as many NPCs as possible, get as many items as possible. And look, there's a treasure chest. How about that? A survival tent. Not that we necessarily need that, because we have as many Omega Souls as possible. So yeah, this area is probably where you're going to be finding, well, not the most difficult enemies in the game, but quite a few of them. So we're just kind of poking around, doing our thing. So where you're supposed to go is actually a little bit hard to find. And we're not going to be hitting that until the next video, sadly. Is this time I'm just kind of exploring around, bippity-boppiting. Actually, no, it is this video, I'm sorry, where we do actually find out where you're supposed to go. It just doesn't complete the side quest because we don't have the appropriate party member right here who you use to complete the side quest. So, I mean, if you really want to get through this side quest fairly quickly, make sure to have Emerald in your party. Alright, so here's another enemy that we haven't seen. And these guys are, again, these are... I forget what their name is. It's something F1. Yeah, carrier F1. All F1s. All the enemies on the ground are F1. I can only imagine how fighting them on the outside of your gear would be. Probably a little bit more difficult. But those guys do like a little whirly bump and so forth. It's silly. It's very silly. So, yeah, these guys will die fairly quickly. They're not that hard. But I just wanted to show them off for... just to give you a somewhat complete bestiarity. I'm pretty sure I did miss some enemies in the past, but the thing about Xenogears is that there isn't like a huge variety of enemies that you can fight. It's not, you know, it's not massive. So there's the Deathblower 3. Again, you can sell all of these, and I even recommend that you do so. Alright, so this actually takes us back to the beginning. So we did kind of a nice little round the block, and so now we're back at the area with like the closed garage door and so forth. And so where you want to go is actually right here. It's hard to see, but there is a sewer, there is a little sewer hatch that you can go into, and what you have to do is you have to get off your gears and you have to enter that. It's really hard to find. It's not easy. But now you're going to be down here exploring the what used to be a subway. And again, you know, I would recommend bringing Esmeralda with you, because if you don't bring her with you, you're going to have to go back and get her eventually. I'm just doing this because... I'm just using these three because I like using these three, and I want to explore the dungeon with them and kind of show off things, show off everything using them. They're my favorite. They've always been my favorite crew. And there's a Z charger, so we only have to buy 2 more, which is awesome. So I'm going to put that on Faye, right? And so I'm very close to Faye being complete the way that I want him. So he just needs one more GNR 50, and then he's good to go. He's looking fantastic. So then you want to head up those stairs, and, well, you're going to have to find out what happens in the next episode. So the reason why I didn't show the cutscene that's supposed to happen once you go up those stairs is because no cutscene will be activated unless you have Esmeralda in your party. So when you go up these stairs, make sure Esmeralda's with you, and then you'll be able to see the next revelation. So, what is this revelation going to be? Find out in the next episode of Let's Play Xenogears. This is the Benjinator, and thank you guys for watching.